Good evening and welcome to the WFC show with me, Matt Crane. We're back. Two of us at least are back from the regulars. Good to see Gareth and Anthony. Got Benny joining us as well. Benny, it's been a while. How you doing, pal?
I'm not bad, mate. I'm not bad.
Good.
Mate, I've got that image in here now.
Oh, don't worry, mate. Full of disasters this evening. I've played the wrong intro and I've just realised that I couldn't stop it, but never mind. Gareth, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. Speaking of laughing, here's Robert. Hopefully got a nice slice of toast to enjoy the show with.
Oh, stop it. I can't concentrate. Anthony, yourself, how are you doing?
Yeah, all good. Yeah, I had a little nap earlier, but after watching the Squid Games, why is it with Siri?
Why are you watching that crap?
Please don't spoil it for me.
It's good, but the last episode is always an anticlimax. You always think, oh, it's going to be a really good ending, and it turns out total poop. The ending.
Is it about large giant squid?
Benny, no.
But yeah,
well, then,
I mean,
then what's the point watching it then?
Didn't realise we'd become a Netflix podcast.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get to the football.
I blame him, Anthony, down there.
I thought you'd started your David Attenborough pitch, Anthony. I thought you was going to tell me more about these little animals, but hey ho. Anyway, good evening to Stuart and to Robert and also to John. John's saying his
John Foster, MEFC, by the way, not just John, please.
Sorry.
He needs to update that YouTube page, doesn't he?
It's not that. He's got a computer from 1970 in his laptop from bloody China, and it's got half the buttons missing. Anyway.
No, but he's got Johnny's Journal as his YouTube picture there, pal.
I'm not even going to comment. I just can't. Anyway, back on topic. Tonight's show, then, we're going to talk about are we too nice on the pitch? And that's not to say we need to go around picking up like bookings and cards, but just our general play, closing down, the pressing. Do we show too much respect? Is it a psychological thing? The first and second press, does it happen? Does it not happen? And then after that, we'll have a look at previewing Durham, which is the Conti Cup game on Thursday. And we'll also chuck in a tiny bit on our Lioness call-ups and also a little bit on the FCAs, which John and Natalie are attending as well on Thursday. Good evening to Ugly Bear as well. So we'll start with the Are We Too Nice section of the show, I think. Benny, I'm going to let you get your... I don't know if to call it a rant or a podcast out the way. I'll start with you then, because I know you were quite vocal about this. And listen, rightly so. So, that's why we talk about it. You were quite vocal about this, especially on Saturday. But talk to me about being nice on the pitch, because like I said, it's not going around kicking people and picking up bookings and things like that. But just talk to me about what you feel might need to either improve or happen in terms of the way we play.
To be fair, mate, I've calmed down a little bit since Saturday, to be honest with you. And if you saw me on last night's show, you'd see what I would have said. Maybe I'd be going on about it a little bit wrong, Things take time, new manager, new sort of style of play. It all takes time to sort of gel together and everyone to learn what's going on from each other. But having said that, the too nicey part's been around since day dot. I don't know whether it's something in the women's game, but it can't be, because Chelsea and Manchester City, especially when we play them, they always show a little bit of a nasty side. I don't mean pushing people in the face or punching people in the face or, Karate Kid style tackling players. What I mean is, as much as it pays me to say, you watch Alex Greenwood's performance against us, everything was just shithousery perfection. Everything was niggly little fouls, little shirt pulls, getting in people's faces. It's just something that we don't do. We're scared. We're chicken out of tackles. 65% of the time, we chicken out of tackles. And I'm looking at the midfield especially. You know, they look like they're going to go into tackle, and in the last split second, they'll pull out their leg away, or they'll pull the body away, and they pull out of a challenge. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. You know, against the big sides, you need to stand toe to toe and show them you're not afraid, and stop showing them respect. Don't show them all this respect. We're far too respectful of the opposition, I feel, at times, you know. We're far too nicey. It's like, you know, get into them, get stuck in. If you bring them down for a foul, you bring them down for a foul, so be it, you know. If one of them picks up an injury, one of them picks up an injury. It's part of football, you know, it's part and parcel of the game. I'm not saying go out and deliberately injure players, by the way, but you need to show, like, we missed that Amy Turner type of crunching tackles, you know. Someone that's not scared to get in there and get stuck in, you know, not scared to take a hit to the face or a blow to the face, not scared to take a hit, you know, in a tackle or whatever. Far too many times, and it's the midfield especially, that they're chicking out of challenges. They're chickening out, jumping up for the ball, getting a second winner on the ball in the air. Get up there. If you take a whack in the face, take a whack in the face. It's football, you know. You know, it's not going to destroy your good looks, is it? You know, just get in there. We need to start getting battle hardened on the football field, you know. It's no good petering out, whimpering against these big sides because we're scared of getting hurt or scared of committing fouls or picking up bookings or whatever. I just can't put my finger on it, but it just seems to be from day dot. And I'm not going to just pick on the midfield for this. The whole team in general is too nice about it. It's like we were saying on yesterday's show, Natalie hit it was perfectly spot on. If Bree was either pushed or punched or whatever the hell she did that, was it owner in the face? Why is it Katie Zellum going up to, as a captain of Manchester United, which you've got every right to do, going up to the referee and having a word in her ear? Why? Why are you too scared to do that? Why are we not? You know, all the other teams do it. I've noticed that as well. All the teams will go around a referee and just quietly having a word in her ear, in his or her ear. You know, I don't want to see when people look at it, everyone's like, oh, you want to see like the Roy Keane, Yap Stam, where they're literally chasing the referee around the field, screaming in their faces. That's not what I'm saying but, you know, just have the odd player maybe just go up to the referee and say, look, ref, how many is that? How many fouls is that now that they've accumulated? You know, how many times you've blown that whistle against us, but you're not blowing the whistle against them for petty little fouls, you know? At the end of the day, for me, it comes down to leadership. There's no leadership in this team. People question the captaincy, and I'm like, well, you take the captaincy of one person, who are you going to put it on? Because there is no leaders. When this at the back end of last season, we capitulated. Everyone's heads went down. I don't see no leaders on that football field, and that's the biggest problem we've got. There's no leaders. There's nobody out there to, you know, get in the referee's face to pick our players up by the scruff of the neck and go, listen, we're not taking this anymore, girls. We're going to do exactly what they're doing to us, you know. And I'm not saying like Chelsea, go on WWF style, throw them around, drag them around, throw them around like you're playing at NFL football or whatever. What I'm saying is just get into them. Just, you know, if you leave your foot in a little bit, you leave your foot in a little bit, you know. What's the worst that can happen? You know, a booking. Wow, you know. But I don't expect that to happen in the first minute and you put yourself really under pressure, you know what I mean? But sometimes, instead of letting them walk through, it's like I had a point yesterday. Jill Scott, why are we letting an 85-year-old take the ball from centre half and literally walk 30, 40 yards without any pressure, without any challenge on her? Why? Why is that? Why are you showing them so much respect on a football field? I don't care if it's Jill Scott. I don't care if she's an England legend. Get into her. Get stuck in. It's about football. Get stuck in, you know. Show a bit of passion. You know, don't just stand off them and show them too much respect, you know. And I felt sorry for Paul Tooney and Paul Essie Russo. You know, that both of them were pressing hard from the front. But when your midfield just stood off and just standing like statues, not doing nothing, you can't do it on your own. You've got to press as a team, you know. You've got to do it as one. You know, if your forwards are pressing, your midfield's got to press. Your defenders, they've got to press at least 10, 15 yards up the field, you know, or have however many yards that we can possibly gain just to get a little bit of advantage, to pressure that ball a little bit more. It's just, I think we're just far too nice for my liking. You know, it's just like, oh, we'll let them walk through. We'll try and just get a little last-ditch challenge if we can. And it's like, Just get stuck into your 50-50s, get stuck into your second and third winners, especially when the ball's in the air. Far too many times I see the midfield, especially, just chicken out of headers. They don't jump properly. They half-assed jump. I'm like, what's the point? Jump for the ball. Get a head onto it. If you get a blow in the face, get a blow in the face. It's not gonna desecrate your good looks, you might get a bruise maybe. Just get on with it. It's football. It's not the Paris fashion walk show, whatever they call it. You're playing football. Get stuck in. Show you care, and that's what the fans want to see. They want to see the people, a little bit of aggression. And obviously, you don't want to go too far to one side. You don't want to be over aggressive, where your players are picking up needless bookings and red cards left, right, and centre. But you need to show a little bit more aggression. Pressing the ball down, chase the ball down, get stuck into challenges, because we can't let teams walk through. How many times a season, even against the crap teams like Reading, are we letting them just waltz through our whole team and then get into our opposition box before we start? Well, our box, should we say? Sorry, before we start putting a foot in. It's not good enough. It's just too easy for them. Far too easy. And I'll shut up now, because I'm sure I'll be 11 minutes in this podcast already.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that's good.
I like Gareth's comment there. Just mark that essay, please, pal, if you would.
There's a reason why I let you go first, Benny. That was why. Because I knew what was coming. But Anthony,
I would have gone on even more, but I've just realised that we're going for the 12 minutes. So I do apologise, Anthony and Gareth, especially.
Oh, dear me. My God. Anthony, I'll come to you next then. I'll let you get your 10 minutes out the way as well.
Well, definitely won't be 10.
Good stuff. Obviously, Benny talked about pressing, which I'm going to get onto a little bit later, but he did say about leadership, and obviously this would be an entirely separate show, and it's something we've actually covered before, and he did say, lack of leaders. But that aside, do you feel that we do maybe have the personnel in the squad? Because I think of Stanley against Birmingham, and to be fair to her, she was putting herself about. Now, whether that was because it was her old club, I mean, she went a little bit too aggressive in the fact that she probably could have ended up sent off, but at least it was there. I look at the bench and I think, Robert said before, hey lad, I think Borisa can probably do it. Jackie, Tooney and Leslie, as Benny rightly said, press as well. Do you think that there's capabilities within the squad and it's maybe how we set up and play, or do you think that it's personnel on the pitch and actually they need to book their ideas up?
It's a good question. You could look at it. It could be a bit of both, really. There is the personnel on the pitch, but like you said, it's the leadership thing, isn't it? It starts you look to your leader for that. Like, come on, let's get stuck in. Like he mentioned Roy Keane. You're not going to see Roy Keane shirking out of anything. If someone loses the ball, then you're going to get a Roy Keane special, aren't you? You're going to get, what the hell is that? F in this, F in that, blah, 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 blah. Get your act together. Now, I respect that. It doesn't happen so much in a women's game. I don't think it's all about that in a women's game. Yeah, it is a bit nicey. But you mentioned Lucy Stan, and that was the one player I was thinking of. She's not afraid to get stuck in, and she's had about 2 or 3 bookings this season, which proves that she's not afraid to get into a challenge. And if anyone would get sent off, it would be her personally. I just think, like you said, against Birmingham, she another ref maybe, if they were not being so lenient, then she could have got sent off on another day. But we need more of that. Like I've mentioned it before, Chelsea, when they played us, when they didn't have the ball, we didn't get a moment's rest. You had to work to keep the ball. But like Benny's pointed out in that, when we have the ball, I totally agree with him. It's like we give them like 10 yards free, 20 yards free. It's like, you can have this free, get further up the field on us, and then hopefully we'll win the ball back further up deeper in our half, which is if you press early and from the top and force them into mistakes, then there's every chance that you create yourself a chance. But by pushing yourself back, you're more likely to pull everything out, and they're more likely to have a chance. You're more likely to concede. Unfortunately, I wasn't at the game Saturday. Unfortunately, I had commitments, which is a great shame. But obviously, when I did see that they had 10 players for an hour, I was a bit disappointed. I was quite happy 2-2, but when I saw that they had, and I know it doesn't always work like that, but I just feel like for what Benny's been saying, it must have been like we must have still given them too much respect. I don't know if they were working at City. Were like, we've got one less player now. We've got to run and run and run, work our balls off, and maybe where some players do lack a bit of leadership or something. Maybe it was a case of, well, being patient. We got the time; it will come. But you still got to play like they do have a full quota of players. It's like we say when you go 1-0 up. I always used to say at football, "Come on, lads, still 0-0." Even if you're 5-0 up, it's that sort of thing. Like, just leave it all on the pitch, like they do. Like Georgia Stanway got sent off. Yeah, it was a bad tackle, but I think you would accept the odd sending off like that occasionally. If we did press and we were physical, I think the fans would accept it a bit more. They would think, yeah, mistimed tackle, naughty, but they were like, there's the effort there, like, but it is what it is. I do think there needs to be a bit more leadership of the pitch. Like Amy Turner, we missed big time. You know, she wouldn't shrink out of a tackle, so there's work to be done.
On that note then, and I'm going to let Gareth answer this and also my next question. So that's the first one off John. And the second one, obviously, I know people are referring to, the Saturday game against City. But do you think, Gareth, this has been or is an ongoing issue maybe? Because I just think sometimes, like this year for me, the midfield's probably the biggest sort of group of options that we have that are, some good players. And I think it's probably our best midfield over the past 4 years. But yet, it seems to be, for me personally, anyway, at the minute, that maybe midfield's letting us down. It invites pressure on the back. But what are your thoughts? You muted, pal.
That's how long they were ranting for. Gareth. That I just decided to mute myself. Honestly, nearly 20 minutes and I've not said a word.
It's normally me. That has to wait 20 minutes.
So, on the issue of like, are we too nice? I'll start with that. I agree to a degree with Ben. I'm not a massive fan of like the Roy Keane kind of comparisons. I think at times Roy Keane went too far the other way.
Brian Robson then, lad.
But that was before my time, pal. I don't remember that.
He was a Norwich fan.
Showing your age there, Chief. So I think we're right. We lack that little bit of aggression, and for want of a better word, we lack a shithouse in midfield. We lack somebody that is just going to take the fouls, is just going to accumulate. If you kind of watch other teams, they'll spread the fouls out as well. So we lack a kind of a midfield and a defence that will just spread them around, so KT's kind of taken one foul, so the next person that fouls will be Jackie, and so on and so forth. And you see that kind of in some of those more physical teams, they'll share the fouls around, so no one really gets no one player is accumulating a load of fouls. I saw quite a few people showing the clip of Greenwood and Badger after the second goal, after was it after Lucy Stan's goal actually, where Alex just kind of held the ball. I don't mind that. People kind of saying that should have been booking for each player. I don't agree. I think you had the captain of one side that would happily have taken a point, trying to delay the momentum of the side that were on top, and you had an opposition player trying to get that ball back. Yeah, there was a bit of pushing and shoving, and I don't think any of it was particularly dangerous. So, absolutely no issue there. I think if you go back a couple of weeks to the game against Chelsea, we saw their second goal was completely avoidable if somebody had just taken a foul. Fast forward 2 weeks, obviously Leicester played Chelsea this weekend and kept them out for 83 minutes. I think what we saw from them is a willingness to take the fouls. Frank Kirby got the ball, looked to drive the ball forward. Ash Plumpton just brought it down. Take the foul, stop the momentum, stop the attack. You can reset in the box and get the ball clear. And Kirby had a quiet game, whereas against us, I think she was able to kind of dictate the play and put a stamp on the game. So, I do think we are lacking, not necessarily an Amy Turner, although she's a great example of it. We are lacking somebody in the side that's going to kind of just leave a foot in, take that foul. And I know Stanway is pretty sly with it. I know she's always kind of getting the elbow out, getting the knee out, getting a little dig in. And she is that kind of player, but that's a player that we're lacking. And I think she's a player where if she's on your team, it is great. And you want that kind of player that is going to just clip at people's ankles for 90 minutes. And because there is this kind of like aura around her that she's not that type of player, she doesn't really get booked for it. Obviously, the challenge is like a textbook red card challenge and absolutely deserves to be sent off. But I think, we could do with that. We could do with maybe our fullbacks like Ona and Hannah just being a little bit more cynical, a little bit more, not dirty because it isn't dirty necessarily, but a little bit more sly. If someone's getting past you, just clip the ankle, and if they don't fall over, just get them to stumble, stop that momentum, play the advantage. They've kind of slowed down. The rest of your team have been able to get back into position anyway. So that's kind of my thoughts on, do we kind of lack that kind of grit? I think, Lucy Stan is a great example of that. What was your second question? So I can then jump
John
on.
asking, should Lucy Stan be captain on Thursday?
I think it kind of depends really on the team we're going to play. I think there's a few players in the squad that I think could be good choices for captains. I think Tooney is a good option if she's going to play or if she's going to rest. You could hear her sort of shouting to the ref. I think it was at Birmingham, like to the ref, "Are you okay?" You saw straight after Stanway fouled Leah, Tooney was right up there. They're friends off the pitch, but that was all irrelevant. She was straight up there, straight at Stanway, and the two of them had a bit of a sort of slagging match at each other. So I think if we're looking for a player that's going to get in the referee's ear, that's going to show that leadership on the pitch, I don't necessarily think that experience means that you're a good captain. And I don't buy into this that forwards can't be good captains and goalkeepers can't be good captains either. Because, what forward can't necessarily see that's going on behind them, you'll kind of have leaders in all positions, or should have leaders in all positions. So I think Lucy Stan would be a good option. But I think Tooney up there as well. She had a great sort of last season. She was fantastic. I think easily our best player. I think Ona got player of the season, but for me it was probably Tooney. And I think she's been one of our stronger players to start as well.
Yeah, just looking at comments, Benny, and I'll give you a little bit of a. I want to say free reign, but maybe that's not the word. Just looking at this here, like midfield sort of waiting for the ball. Maybe in terms of that, I'm thinking, to sort of wait to decide what to do. Like, do we press? Do we sit off? Do we go here? Do we go there? So looking at that, and then let me find it. It was a bit about harder here and superior speed. What do you think about that? Because for me, I think there's at least Jackie within a yard, if not two of her, that was more than capable. And we talk about, sort of being organised. Do you think it's maybe organisation as well as leadership that sort of affects it, or do you just put it down to maybe? I think somebody mentioned a lack of quality. I'll find that, so I'll let you talk.
It is organisation as well, pal, and it's also we're still finding our feet, I think, in the way that Matt Skinner wants us to play. And the way Matt Skinner sets our midfield baffles me. It really does. There's no press in there. There's no urgency in that midfield at all at times. And I think it was you that pointed out, it was you or Gareth, either one of you pointed out. I think Matt Skinner's going to stop telling them where to pass the ball on the sideline. Trust your players to do that. Yeah. Trust your players to do that because, instead of Zelen collecting the ball, turning, or, maybe putting a half-decent pass going forward, you've got him bellowing out, go sideways, go backwards. That's no good. That's no good. There's no, you're not showing a lack of faith in your midfield there. And if you don't trust your midfield, well, sure, that's questions that you've got to then look to change it up, that you can trust it. Listen, I'm all for managers. I like managers that are vocal at the sideline. We'll stand there, we'll get behind the team and everything. But you've also got to trust your team to play. And our midfield just looks half a yard, 2 yards. No, in fact, 2 yards. It looks 2 yards off the pace compared to the rest of the team. I just don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's a tactical thing, whether it's he doesn't have the full trust of that midfield. Yeah, I don't know, or he's still trying to find his best combinations in there. I don't know, but he needs to get it right soon because we can't keep letting teams walk through us. I mean, that harder comment is if you're a centre half or you're a player and a player's quicker than you, stand them off, jockey him. You don't have to go and steaming in and walk right past you. You can stand off, give them that half yard, see where they're going, show them down the outside. Don't show them inside, show them down the outside, jockey them. And often than not, the pressure you put there sometimes is them making a mistake anyway, where you can get a challenge in, or they will play a woeful shot that hit 300 yards wide or something, But the fact is, the thing that makes me absolutely really, really, really annoyed is when we gift teams goals, just wrap them up and gift them goals. There you are. That was half our problem with Chelsea. Or when we are seeing the opposition running at us, Thorostottir particularly, she is absolutely the one that is the worst for this. The worst offender is you turn your back on the ball. Don't be afraid once again to get hit in the mush, or if it hits you in the body or something. That's your job as a defender. Stop the ball. Stop the ball. Protect your goalkeeper. Protect your goal. That's your job. Yes, the goalkeeper, you can always you argue is the last line of defence. It's their job to keep the ball out of the net. By any means necessary. But your defence, that's where you're a defender. You're defending your goal. It's criminal. Every time I see a turn of back, it makes me fume. I'm like, get stuck in, charge that ball down. Why are you turning your back on it? You're turning your back on it. You can't see what's going on. Yes, it might take. Sometimes you might get lucky and it might hit you on the backside or hit you against the back or something. But why are we not closing that ball down? Roy Keane says the best on Sky Sports when Gary Neville goes, they might be tired or something. It's 2 yards. What's 2 yards? Charge it down. And you see it time and time again from the opposition team. They're willing to charge the ball down. They're willing to throw bodies on the line. And sometimes I'm thinking, I don't know whether it's a thing that they're doing training, whether it's like, don't go charging in, don't go flying in or something. I'm not expecting them to go flying in, by the way, and allowing people just to easily run by, the missed time, the challenge, the misread the game. But at least when someone looks like they're shaping to shoot, go out there, get a block in. You don't have to go flying in. Sometimes you just rush out 2 yards, just stand your ground and it hits you. You know, you can't get a shot away. You can't get the shot around your body. You know, I just think sometimes we just look like we're a half a yard too short sometimes in our thinking of our reading of the game, and it's like we need to sharpen our thinking up a little bit quicker. And whether we look to bring in a defensive coach, I'm not 100% sure we've got any in the women's side, where you could maybe bring somebody in to work on a defensive sort of style, a defensive shape, a defensive organisation. Whether you maybe bring in somebody that's played centre half, that's retired, that played centre half 15, 20 years of their career, and that could give them a little bit of an insight and a little bit of a, what can you do in these situations? Like the men's team employed a coach for set plays, apparently. And we're still fucking crap at that in the men's game, really.
Benny,
we
can I just
need to
jump in?
look at something that sort of, if our coaches can't see it or our manager can't see it, we'll look at someone that maybe specialises in that field to give us that sort of like extra quick thinking. Sometimes people say you can't teach this extra quick thinking, but sometimes if somebody goes, listen, if you could be a bit half a yard quicker here, just charge the ball down here. If you're looking at, say, someone's looking at a shape to shoot, don't turn your back on it. It's criminal. You can't see what's going on. But I don't know, mate. Maybe I'm just old school, man. I don't know.
Can I just jump in quickly for a second?
You can,
just to rewind 5-10 minutes to where you mentioned Skinner on the sideline, kind of telling players where to pass, like inside, outside. When he sat down in the second half and let Martin sort of take over the technical area, we started to play a little bit better. Now, I can't remember exactly whether it was before or after we kind of got those goals, but he kind of, at one point in that second half, he went and sat down in the dugout and let Martin kind of take over. And, like you said, I love a coach being active on the sideline, that's shouting instructions, that's getting the team to do what they want. But at some point, you've got to let them do the work. Like we went to FC on Sunday, and Tom is pretty active on the sidelines as well. But he was never kind of giving instructions like inside, outside. He was just kind of shouting them to kind of settle down and let the ball do the work and move the ball and get forward, and giving instructions on shape as opposed to the individual passing. So, just agreeing with you essentially, but to a point that you made about 8 minutes ago.
So I was reading through some of these comments. Sorry, I'm just can't help but chuckle to myself.
Benny, I've not even had a chance to read these comments, pal. You're going to get me shot. Anthony, take that question. It's been on screen about half an hour. Sorry, Gareth.
Was that supposed to be for me, by the way? I do apologize.
No.
What I was doing is I was checking the average height of our squad and compared to others. I don't know. You mentioned too short and that. Most of them are at least 5'4" in our team. So the average height for a female apparently is 5'3". So I'm looking at some of the other players in other teams like Man City. They've still got players relatively like the same size. I think it might be a more physical point of thing. Maybe I don't think it's a height issue. Yeah, Honor and Hannah Blundell are not the biggest, but you've got other people there that are tall enough, like Leah and that. So yeah, I personally think it's probably more of a physical sort of element, maybe not staying switched on. I don't buy the height thing. I think we've got enough players in our squad that are similar to other teams around. So
I think just quickly, the issue there isn't necessarily kind of like our height, but
That's what I was saying.
Man City have a couple of players that are really tall, like Jill Scott's 5'11".
Yeah,
Bunny
I
Shaw's
saw that. Yeah,
Bunny Shaw's almost 6 foot. So, like City are a tall squad.
yeah.
Or have a couple of really tall players that are obvious threats from set pieces.
They're not all like that.
No.
So yeah, no, that was my point. Like I said, I don't think the height's the issue, but that's my say on it.
Matt's Wi-Fi is
Gareth,
ropey.
do you want to take that question on screen?
Yeah. So do you think the lack of an out-and-out number 9 had the effect on midfield long pass options? Because Russo's back now, so maybe they can have more free reign with her on the opportunistic long ball. I think against some of the poorer sides, I don't think it's necessarily been a problem, and I don't think, I disagree that false 9 is inherently bad. I just think that we were able to get wins against Reading and against Leicester playing that. Obviously, they've not had a great start to the season. Our issue against Chelsea was more, as opposed to the system and the false 9, it was more a case of individual errors costing us a goal early on. And then Chelsea were able to really sit back, play almost like a flat back 5 out of possession. And then their midfield kind of sat deeper as well, which has made it really, really difficult for us to break down. And I think a false 9, in order for it to work, what you need to see is space for that number 9 to operate in. And Tooney didn't have any of that. So I don't feel like being able to play a long ball game would have made any difference against Chelsea, really, using Leslie as a target, because I think Chelsea just sat back and the gaps between their back 5 and their midfield 3 at that time weren't particularly great. So a long ball over the top would have just been really easily dealt with by Berger in goal. So I just think that that was more the issue against Chelsea than anything else. I think against sides where they're going to be, where they have to be a bit more expansive, if we'd sort of played against a Chelsea team that has to come out and attack us, then we would have been able to find some space. But because they're able to really sit deep, that was an issue. However, I do think that we've seen that having Leslie in the squad makes us more dangerous attacking, but I don't think that what we kind of saw against Chelsea was as a result of the system. I think it was primarily a result of individual errors. If you look kind of at each of them goals, there's things that could have been done to prevent them. Obviously against City at the weekend, we just lack that little bit of bite. I think you can tell that Leslie hasn't played for a really long time. I think sometimes she's maybe just a split second off with some things, so either the timing of the run or there was opportunities where she could play a ball in, and I think she kind of maybe played the wrong one. But that will all come. The more minutes she plays, the better she's going to get. And she's got 2 and 2, and we've absolutely not seen the best of her yet this season. So it's going to be really, 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 really good actually to see kind of where she goes from here, because when she's fit and firing, she's going to be one of the top number 9s in the league.
Talking about the comment on the screen, we, not just this season in general though, but throughout all the seasons, I think, other than sometimes Amy and that, we've always struggled to score from corners. I know we scored on the weekend. It was a good bit of improvisation from Lucy Stansforth, but that's more offensive. So I feel like we do struggle we should be scoring more, especially when we had Amy T and Millie. But the defensive side of it, it's always been a bit of an Achilles heel. So I don't know why there's a problem, but if you got to, if you can't defend them, then it's a bit like going up for it up top. Yeah, you got to get in the positions to get your head on it. So it's one of those, like, I think I don't know what it is, but we've struggled with set plays quite often. I just don't know why, but it's just one of them things we say needs sorting out, but it still tends to be an Achilles heel half the time.
Benny, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to move on to Durham now. Durham Thursday, obviously in the Conti Cup then. What are you thinking in terms of squad then? Because we talked a lot about midfield and pressing today. Do you think this is a good chance to sort of rotate? And I'll get on fully to what Mark sort of said on that today to Emma Sanders. But where do you see sort of Thursday in terms of team? Would you go a couple rotated and stick strong and get that win? Or do you think there'll be quite a few changes?
Definitely some rotation, especially in that midfield. I respect Bo Reese to maybe get a bit of some game time. In fact, I start Haley Ladd as well. I'm just trying to think if he'll make any changes at the back, because I think he might still go strong at the back, to be fair. Fit Kirsty Smith is. I don't think is she anywhere near fitness, so I can't see any of the fullbacks changing either. So I could definitely see Bagley being in goal, to be honest with you. And it's just about who's going to play in midfield. I mean, if Bagley can give Galton a little bit of a rest, she's not being 100% at it still, so you might see a change out wide, maybe. You see, it's all guesswork really, but I still think you'll go for a pretty strongish squad. If we go one in a cup competition, you always take that chance. You don't want to go out with a whimper, please. I hope they're going to roll the red carpet out for us this time, like last time. People that know who were there originally will know that's that joke. That sort of how much they were being absolute dicks when we was down there, not only to fans but to our team in general. So I hope we play a pretty strongish side and we absolutely batter these, annihilate these. I can't stand Durham. I really can't. So it might be quite a feisty game, to be fair, because listen, and this is where you're going to have to play football in shithousery. There's one thing Durham do better than any team that I think we've played against is the shithousery. They are physical. They are physical. They will foul you within any facet of the game they can. They will try and push the law of the game as far as before bookings start coming out. So we've got to be prepared for that. We've got to prepare for a battle, for a fight in there. And we've got to win our individual battles as well. And I'm not saying that you're going to win every single individual battle throughout the whole game, but let's make sure we win the majority of them. We can't go out with a whimper to these. I mean? It's a long journey from Manchester, and I do not want to go down there and get beat by them, because we're chickening out and what's been happening over the last since the last half of last season, really, because it's all been since then, really, when we've shown this sort of frailties in this side a lot more than what we previously ever did. So we've got to make sure we're on it right from the get-go. Not be afraid. Just get stuck into them. Make sure you don't give them the respect that you'd be giving City and Chelsea. Let's get into them from the get-go. Show them who they are. You're Manchester United. They're Durham. No disrespect to Durham, they're Durham. And they are going to kick us to shreds, and we've got to be prepared for that. We've got to make sure that we're in the referee's face a little bit. Well, not the face, but maybe in his or her ear. Make sure we're in there a little bit, because they're going to, they're going to be always at the referee. They're always going to be at the referee's ear. They're always going to look to kick us to death, we make sure we play our game as well. Don't play their game. Don't stoop yourself to their game, because if we stoop ourselves to their game, we are effectively, pushing our chances down lower than what we can. Go out there and batter them all over the field, man. Just batter them. Even if it's a rotated side, we should be good enough to absolutely nail these tomorrow night. It is tomorrow night. No, Thursday night. Just nail them all over the pitch. I don't like it. There's this Beth Heppel still playing from, by the way. Someone, please. I'll pay the fine. Just take her out if she's still in that team. Jeez, I cannot stand her. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I hope that some of the youngsters may get, depending on how the game's going, may get some game time as well. Give them some needed minutes as well. So, and Fuso especially, I don't understand why she hasn't got the chance yet. There's no point trying to bring her on for the last 2 minutes to see out the game. And then by the time you try and get her on, the full-time whistle's gone. That's pointless. Let's give her a chunk of game time, see what she can do. This could be a perfect game for her to prove what she could do. A little bit of pace, against a defence that is going to be quite bullish. They're going to be trying to what's the word? Start go aggressive. Look, they're going to play the aggressive game all throughout. We've got to be smart and make sure we play our full, but equally make sure we're equally as aggressive at the same time. Don't start from go toe to toe. Win your personal battles. There's always little personal battles all around the football pitch. If it's your player to mark, make sure you win that personal battle. I say you're never going to win every single one throughout the 90 minutes. Make sure we're winning the majority. Let's make sure we're winning second balls in the air, third balls. Let's just make sure we're first at everything and just give a good account of ourselves. And what's that John said? Harris song.
Martha.
Which would, yeah. Anyway,
I gave a rendition of Siggy's old song for Russo last week on the show. If you caught it.
Oh yeah, the one that you cocked up at the end.
I didn't cock it up.
I'm just waiting for Anthony to give an opportunity to sing. That was all.
Nah, she's not. You're right. I'm not going to. Certainly not going to do the heartbeat one.
Hey, BA.
Hey, to be fair, it's better than most of the dodgy chants that are around at the minute. I tell you, some of them are absolutely embarrassing. I'm like, who's come up with these?
Anyway, can I talk about Durham, please?
You can talk about Durham, son. Go ahead.
I was just going to say,
it's your show, isn't it?
Give me a Durham point of view. Go on.
Durham are not the side they were when we were in the Championship. Durham are in form. They're playing. Whoa, Craney's gone.
What's going on here, Craney, lad? What's happening?
Mr. Dial-Up himself has dropped out. Durham are not the side they were when we were in the Championship. They're a lot stronger now. Beth Heppel is probably going to be one of the top players in the Championship this season. And they're a side that I think if a side finishes above them, they'll finish as champions. So we need to be really careful, actually, that we don't go into this game and rotate too much. Yes, we have a squad that should be absolutely capable of beating Durham. We have a squad that should be capable of beating any Championship side. But when one team goes through from these group stages, and we're in a group stage with City, although they've struggled, their squad is a strong one. Leicester, again, they've struggled, but they're capable of beating these top sides. They kept Chelsea out for 83 minutes. Everton, again, not had a great start to the season, but that squad is absolutely capable. Hannah Bennison looks like a fantastic young player. Izzy Christensen in midfield can cause problems. Kenza Darley, when we went to see them...
Who in midfield?
Izzy Christensen. Kenza Darley as well, when I've kind of seen them play, anything positive has gone through her. And, their defence isn't particularly shabby either, although they've not started well. So there's sides there that, in past seasons, we would have slipped up against in the Conti Cup. So we need to go in and, let's not go in and make wholesale changes. Let's not play people like Carl Solskjaer, because these people haven't played at this level, and Durham will just absolutely batter her.
Sorry, but they'll pick her apart, mate. Can't be playing Carl. Not yet.
Agreed. So we need to go there and not respect Durham because we're the better side than Durham, but we need to go there and don't think we've won the game before we stepped onto the pitch. They are a strong side. They're a physical side. They're flying at the moment. Their form is much more consistent than ours, and they are top of the league. So I think as well, when you look at the groups, we do have some of the more difficult groups. Group A is Villa, Blackburn, Liverpool, Sheffield, Sunderland. One WSL side there. Obviously, we're in Group B, 4 WSL sides. Group C, Charlton, Coventry, Watford, Spurs, 1 WSL side. Group D, Bristol, Palace, Lewis, Reading, 1 side. Group E, Birmingham, Brighton, London, West Ham. So there's 3 there as well. One side is guaranteed to go through. We can't afford to be potentially dropping points against some of these teams. We need to make sure that when we play Durham, we batter them. When we play Everton, we batter them. And when we play City, we batter them as well. We need to make sure that we're not dropping points. We can't be in a position like last year where we lost a game against Liverpool, and that ultimately cost us an opportunity at trophy. So, let's go there. Let's win the game, but let's not take the mick by rotating excessively. Play Sophie Bagley in goal. Play people like Bo Arisa. Play Hayley Ladd. If we want to give Fuso minutes, give Fuso minutes. But let's not fill a side with devs. If Kirsty Smith is ready for half an hour, let's give Kirsty Smith half an hour. Let's give Martha some minutes if we need to. But that is a squad that's capable of winning the game. Let's not bring in too many devs, even if the registration rules allow it, because Durham are not a poor side.
Do you want to take that question as well, Gareth?
Will we play Durham in WSL next season? If there was 2 teams coming up, I would say absolutely yes. I still think they're probably favourites, but I think Charlton are looking good. Liverpool are playing really well. London City Lionesses are flying as well. Sheffield looking good. They're kind of 5 points adrift, but there's still a long way to go. So I don't know. I don't really want to stick my neck on the line at this stage, but we pretty easily could well be, but we could also easily be getting ready for another away trip down south to Charlton, which would be a nightmare. I guess it'd be good if Blackburn could come up. I mean, that's not going to happen, but just in terms of...
As long as Charlton got the oxygen chunk.
They'll have the oxygen. They're a pro side now, Benny lad.
They got 2 now.
Best of 2 and all.
2 oxygens, pushing the boat out. Benny, I'm going to quickly let you, before we wrap up, I'm going to let you talk about the FCAs. So obviously John is there on Thursday with Natalie. We will provide a little bit of content, assuming John's not had one too many wine gums and fizzy fruit shoots. But just talk to us a little bit about that then, how pleasing it is to be nominated and things like that. And just maybe a little bit about the awards as well, for those that don't know about it.
I just hope that John doesn't turn up with these Predators with John Foster on it,
He'll be in his purple
smart shoes. Anyway, the FCAs, mate, to be fair, mate, what an absolute honour it is to be nominated for an award in the FCAs, considering how long this channel's been going for as well, and what we've been going for as content just proves that the great content that we're putting out there, and we're mixing it in with the big guns as well. We're not just going up against smaller little people that no one's ever heard of. We're going up against some big guns in there. So everybody should be proud of themselves. Absolutely fantastic, proud of themselves. I'm just hoping that John could hold his drink a little bit, and doesn't embarrass himself too much. We all know Natalie's gonna get carried away. Imagine if we won a trophy. I think Natalie would be on the stage, knee sliding and all that lot, But it is an absolute. With Jesse Smart, I know you are, so nothing with John Foster MUFC put on it, please, or your Poundland badge. but yeah, all that dodgy hat. But yeah, isn't it? It's amazing, mate. It just goes to prove the hard work that we put in. You know, yourself, Craney, Anthony, Gareth, Natalie, John. We've also had Amber as well on social media. Karen that does the social media as well, and everybody else that's contributed. It just goes to show how much we've grown as well now. Because you think that people like Connor are now involved as well from the men's channel. You know, we've got more and more people jumping on now. Doing like after match reactions or whatever, you know what I mean? Doing their match reaction little clips and whatever, you know. And it's amazing where we've come from in such a short period of time. And listen, you'll probably know better about the FCAs, mate. I'm still learning about it myself, to be fair. But is it the Football Content Awards, isn't it? So, you know, you go up and you think of the big channels that won something in the past, like your Arsenal Fan TV. I think Stretford Paddock / Full Time Devils, they won stuff there before. And you're going up against like big media outlets as well, you know, big people like doing podcasts and everything. I'm sure the High Performance podcast being voted for something. Jake Hum to be there, everybody should be absolutely proud of themselves. And yeah, sorry, Emma, and Andy Onions, I did miss a few out. Not by purpose, but I don't want to keep dragging this on because I could go over an hour here. And Matt still hasn't gone on about Lionesses yet and why Arsenal fans are crying over Jordan Nobbs not being in the squad, which has made my absolute night, that has.
No, is the floor mine now, Benny? Thank you. I was going to come to Anthony actually first. Anthony, I was going to say, obviously, we've got Mary Earps still in there as well. We've got Zellum, we've got Staniforth, we've got Tooney, and also very pleasing, a recall as well for Alessia. What are your thoughts on that? Obviously, it's only a couple of, you know, sort of qualifying games against Latvia and Northern Ireland, but we're still going to go out there and obviously, you know, get the points. So, but what are your thoughts on just those United players I've mentioned? We'll forget the rest. We'll let Gareth talk about them.
Okay, I was going to mention the whole squad in general, but
we've not got time, pal.
You're disappointed now.
Well, I'll do it quickly. Yeah, it's great. It's great that they're getting picked for their countries. I think a couple of them possibly are a stopgap at the moment. When other players come back from the likes of City and that, and you got the likes of Nobbs, who I think Serena said needed to play more minutes or something. I think she was on about
absolutely the way it should be.
Yeah, but so I do think they're there on merit at the moment. Well, the majority of them on a merit at the moment due to the availability of who we've got. There's a couple of conclusions I don't agree with. The likes of we've mentioned Jill Scott. She doesn't.
She'll be still there in a Zimmer frame, mate, playing at 89.
But, I think,
out of curiosity,
I think quickly, I'll just do goalkeepers and forwards. I think they got the goalkeepers right. Maybe Gareth might think, someone else from goal could be in. And I think the strikers they've pretty much got right. Maybe Ebony Salmon might feel hard done by, but other than that, I feel like they are. She's got that spot on, but I'll let you ask Gareth his opinion on this whole squad now, as you were going
to. Yeah, I don't mind the inclusion of Jill Scott. Quickly, Anthony, if no Jill Scott, then who?
Well, that's a tough one now, isn't it?
Give someone new a chance.
I pretty much just ruled Nobbs out, didn't I? Because she's not played much, but
agreed.
No, God, I hate being put on the spot.
This way goes all red now.
Like I said, there's lots of people to come back when they get fit. She's just experiencing the squad. And I think when everyone is fully fit, I would expect her to not be in the squad. So your question to that, she's in there for the experience, I think.
A nice politician's answer. So I think the goalkeepers is
yes, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I think the goalkeepers is absolutely bang on. They're the three that
Yeah.
should be picked. They're the three that deserve to be picked, and it's great they have been. Defenders don't really disagree with a huge amount there. You know, Jess Carter is getting minutes for Chelsea. Chelsea are playing well defensively, so she's in there on merit. I think this is kind of what we're seeing with Serena based on these first two sets of squads, is that largely as a rule, it's being based on those players that are generally playing well for their clubs. I think in midfield, Jill Scott isn't the first central midfielder that I'd get rid of. But I think Izzy Christensen could potentially kind of be in and around the conversation before Jordan Nobbs. Nobbs obviously will be once she has played more minutes for Arsenal. She's just come back off a really serious injury, so her management of game time is really important. She's barely played for Arsenal since coming back, so it'd be wrong to include her in that squad. Scott, I think, is there potentially maybe because of her versatility. She can kind of play in that normal central midfield role. She can kind of drop back and play at centre half if needed, or kind of drop and play in a more defensive midfield role. So I think she's there on merit as well. She's done a great job for City over the last few games playing at centre half. Interesting as well, potentially, the one thing I noticed, Leah Williamson listed as a central midfielder. She started her career at centre mid. So, interesting to see kind of what Serena has planned for her, and actually whether she's going to take the armband again or whether that's going to be moved around. And I think the forwards, it's great to see Leslie there as well. Just quickly on Leslie, I know I've seen a lot of people say that United should withdraw her from the squad because they want to manage her minutes. If Leslie doesn't go in that England squad, she doesn't play a game for 3 weeks. She's just coming back from injury. She's just played 90 minutes for the first time in almost 12 months. It's really important that she gets game time. So actually, I think her being in this squad and having proper training, because there's going to be a lot of players away on international duty. So the training she's going to get with England at this training camp is going to be better than it would be staying at United. The one player I think could feel hard done by is Hannah Blundell. Probably does deserve to be in that squad. The issue is, where do you replace it? Do you drop one of those midfielders out? Zella, maybe, Scott, move Daly as a forward and bring Blundell in as a fullback? That's probably what I would do. But that midfield is already pretty thin as it is, with people like Leah Williamson being listed in midfield. So I do think that Blundell can feel hard done by. I'm just not sure really who she replaces. Maybe Jess Carter, but then Demi Stokes had a fantastic game at the weekend, so she's kind of there on merit. It's really difficult to kind of see who should drop out of that squad to fit Blundell in. So she absolutely should feel hard done by, but I don't think it's a really glaring omission because someone is in that defence that doesn't deserve to be. Was that quick enough for you, Matt?
Hey, listen, no, that was fine. It was record time, that, compared to the other two.
My England prediction was record timing, pal.
Yeah,
30 seconds. That's it.
Yeah, forget your England predictions, lad. I've not got another hour to spare, pal.
Mate, my England prediction is come on, Northern Ireland.
Perfect, that'll do. We'll leave it there, Benny, now. Mute yourself, lad. Right, end of the show then. Thank you to everybody in the comments and for everybody that's tuned in. Natalie's back tomorrow at 7 p.m. She's got a women's football panel with the issues that women face in football. Thursday, we've got myself and Benny will be on matchday content duty. I'm not sure if Benny knows that, but he is now. John, like I said, and Natalie are at the FCA, so hopefully we can get a little bit from them as well. Friday, we've got Fans Forum. Saturday, we've got me and Benny back on our Saturday Night Live. And Sunday, there is a few of us also on the road as well that will also provide some content. So another busy week. The schedule's also pinned on Twitter. And like I say, make sure, obviously, you join Natalie tomorrow at 7 p.m. for her show. Cheers to you all for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers, guys.